Get all your differences, let we start to build. And onward to progress we surely will. Because now, more than ever, we must show discipline, tolerance, and production to build a strong and better nation. I say that is the main foundation. So come let us work hand in hand, because this is our land. Come my brother, come my sister, and let us build a nation together.
Come, my brother, come, my sister, and let us build a nation together. I want to welcome you to this very important segment in the program where I will speak. And before we brought the folks on Facebook Live and YouTube Live, we had Pastor Davis John, who normally, do his segment, and we would have Dr. Linton Andrews. But this morning we didn't have Dr. Linton Andrews on. But that is the normal on Wednesdays. For local consumption, I would have Pastor Davis John and Dr. Linton Andrews do their bit on the radio itself. But my segment will carry on the radio on Facebook and YouTube. All right? So I want to encourage those on Facebook and on YouTube to please share the live. Sharing is caring. When you do, you give your friends on your page the opportunity to be a part of the conversation. Because how Facebook works is by me adding you as a friend, and whatever I post on my page, you will see it. So your friends may not be my friends. You may have 5,000 friends, and maybe one or two might be my friends. So if you share it on your page, your friends will see it, and then they may view, they may listen, or they may just pass. The YouTube channel, once you subscribe to the channel, you can share the program, and it can be shared on WhatsApp, it can be shared on Facebook, it can be shared on all platforms. And when you do that, your friends will see, and they can then view it and follow the program. That is how people discover programs. That is how people get to know that programs exist. We carry our program on Vibes 101.3 FM and 106.3 FM here in Grenada, Carriacou, and PT Martinique. And Vibes is on TuneIn. That's TuneIn Radio online. So you can actually listen there if you want to. We also carry the program on Wild 106.3 FM out there in New York, and they are also on a number of online platforms. So there is no way you could miss the program if you want to listen to it. I want to start off in a real way by saying we should not be alarmed at the amount of people who are out there saying that Grenada is high when it comes to crime and criminality. And that's a nice way for me to put it. We should not be alarmed because you have a number of people out there saying the crime rate in Grenada is so high that Scotland Yard and the FBI should be called in to assist the Royal Grenada Police Force. Because there are people out there who are actually saying that, right? In fact, this individual, well, I call him the old cock, right? The old cock and the old bull. the old Morocco, he wants power. He's desperate for power. So he's out there calling on government to approach the FBI and Scotland Yard to come in and help, right?
I go offered advice to ask the British Scotland Yard to come in and investigate. Could ask the FBI, both of them or one of them. And I'm pretty sure if the government is the one who has to ask, that we will be able, because it's clear people have lost confidence in the present leadership of the police force.
Yeah, it's sad that this guy believes he's the smartest political idiot outside here. So he's out there saying, well, people have lost confidence in the top brass of the police force, and with the crime rate in Grenada at this point, we need to call on the FBI and Scotland Yard to help. But here it is. In the lead up to the 2008 general election, we had almost the same amount of homicides that we have today in Grenada. The NNP was in power in the lead up to the election of 2008. We didn't hear Keith Mitchell or any one of them asking for the FBI or Scotland Yard to come in and help, right? In the lead up, you remember that election? It was a bloody one, meaning a lot of people died in the lead up to that election. I think the number of homicides reached 16. So at this point, it's just one more than what existed in 2008. In the lead up to the general election, the NNP was in power during that time. But we didn't hear the need for Scotland Yard or the FBI. But here it is. We are at number 17. St. Lucia is at 27. St. Vincent is at 35. Well, don't even talk about Trinidad. Trinidad, we're not even going to compare. I am only looking at population size. So I am saying Grenada is at 17. St. Lucia is at 27. And St. Vincent is at 35. So what Keith Mitchell is saying to me and you, St. Lucia should ask the FBI and Scotland Yard to come in and help. St. Vincent should ask the FBI and Scotland Yard to come in and help. Grenada needs to do the same. Trinidad needs to do the same. Jamaica needs to do the same. St. Kitts needs to do the same. Barbados needs to do the same. All of them needs to do the same. So then the FBI needs to leave the United States of America, forget about the work up there, and mind you, if you want to talk about crime, let's look at the United States of America and those bigger countries. But I am saying they need to leave their territory and come into those small islands and work. That is what this political idiot is actually implying, you know. And sometimes they believe that they are smart. They're the smartest thing out here. But let us look at the 17 murders in Grenada. How many out of those murders are drug related? That is something that we need to think about. You have a number of people who actually died and they are drug related. They either selling cocaine, selling marijuana, they take them people cocaine, they take them people marijuana, and they sell it, and they keep the money, and they still keep the cocaine and the marijuana. So they want both of them. They want the cocaine, they want the marijuana. They would sell it, make the money, and not pay the people who they take it from. So what will happen, those folks who sold them the marijuana, the cocaine, they may have taken it from somebody else. They might be dealing with somebody else to get it, the source. So they have to pay that source. And if they can't pay the source going to come for them. And if they realize that the source going to come for them, then they're going to go to the person. They're going to go for the person who actually they sold it to and did not give them the money. So you have a number of those homicides here out of the 17 that are drug related. There are people who come, they set up business in Grenada to wash money. What they would do, they would use the business as a cover-up. So even if the business cannot generate that kind of money, they would go and bank the money and it comes across as clean money, as though the business make the money. But really and truly, it is not the business making the money. It is the cocaine they're selling, the crack and the cocaine and the cannabis that they're selling. So some people want to be naive. They want to play as though they're smart, they're bright. So they're now attacking the Royal Grenada Police Force and saying, well, they're not competent. They can't do the work. They can't this, they can't that. Let us start looking deeper. Let us start looking. In fact, they're going as far as to say, well, the government is to be blamed. That is what they're saying, you know. They're going as far as to say, well, the government needs to be blamed, and the government this, and Deacon Mitchell this and that. That is what they're saying, you know, some of those NNP opportunists, you know. Yeah. So what they're saying is that when the individual got shot in Karakou, the NNP activist, he was a senior person of the NNP. He got shot, right? The lady there, they didn't shoot the lady. The woman in the vehicle or wherever wrong, she ain't get shot. But they shoot, the individual shoot the guy and escape to wherever, Trinidad, Barbados, wherever he went. We believe it's Trinidad, right? The question is, well, why? Why he shot the guy and not the woman? Huh? He knew the individual. They were involved in this trade and transporting things from Karakou, Grenada to Trinidad, back and forth, right? Also, an individual come and shoot another individual 9 times. Who do that? You shoot somebody 9 times? Huh? And then you see the news surfacing from St. Vincent, because the individual was connected to St. Vincent, saying that this guy is a known drug man, a known person involved in drugs, right? Then you look at the Egmont situation. You just follow the reports. These things are not it's not isolated. Not isolated. And there's some situation where it's crime of passion. Crime of passion. So to come out and say, well, things are so bad in Grenada when it comes to crime, it's a laugh, it's a big joke. It's a big joke. But there are some people in this country who are dangerous. They want power, and they will do everything to bring Grenada to its knees. They want Grenada to be seen out there as so bad that people will not come here, right? But come on, let's look at Jamaica. You have 5, 6, 7, 800 people dying, being murdered in Jamaica annually every year. And still for all, 2 million, 3 million tourists visiting Jamaica. In Trinidad, 500, 600 people being murdered. And still for all, for Carnival alone, 100 and something thousand people will visit Trinidad. So sometimes these people make you believe that heaven is falling on earth, you know. Yeah, this morning you had an idiot call the Plead Your Cause program, and I laugh, you know. He said, well, under the previous administration, the amount of crimes or murders, right? He used words to that effect, murders that took place in recent times, it is higher than under the previous administration. And he said, it's not political, you know. But then why reference the previous administration compared to now? And then he said, well, he calling on the Minister of National Security, Deacon Mitchell, to do something, right? And he calling on the woman who does pray, to pray for Grenada because he can't pray to good. Okay. Well, they've been praying, you know. Yeah. So you saying to me that the Honorable Deacon Mitchell could prevent a person from shooting somebody, not so? That's what you're actually saying to me. You see, some people believe that they're smart, but they're dotish, they're dumb, they dunce. They just believe that they're smart. So they call a radio program and they believe that they could blah blah and they song and bright. You ain't smart? No. Because I am saying to you, all we need to do is to look at these the statistics regarding the amount of homicides that took place in Grenada for this year. Let's look at it. And let's break it down, right? To identify how these things happen and whether it was drug related or not. And look, no government could stop a person from committing a crime. No minister could do it. To say that they have the power to stop crime from happening. And the police, our police force, has a good track record of solving crimes. Already, they have somebody in custody for that shooting up here in St. Paul's. Already, they have somebody in custody for the murder of the teacher. Already, they have somebody in custody for the situation somewhere in Woburn in that area. And we can go on and on. So it is not like the police is not on the ball when it comes to crime. We have a very good crime solving rate in Grenada compared to St. Vincent, compared to St. Lucia, compared to Trinidad, compared to Jamaica and all the others. So sometimes we talk our country bad so much. In other words, watch me. This morning, when that same person who called the Plead Your Cause program actually made a reference to the student who died or who it's alleged, right, died, and they believe the body that they found yesterday was that of him. And that person actually made that reference with the hope that it would be foul play or it would be something like that. It's amazing, Amazing. But if you listen to the news, you would hear a person who was hashing actually saying that the person appeared unwell on the hashing. It's look, there are too many people in this country who want to talk their country bad, who wishing bad for Grenada, that they just don't care. You know what? Sometimes you have to just reflect a bit on what you're saying and on Grenada, because Grenada belongs to all of us. Grenada belongs to, and I'm trying to get what. Let me just get maybe the audio. Right. Right. That is what I wanted. You heard what you heard there what the individual was saying, right? That is exactly what I wanted to play for you. I hope you heard that there, where she said that fellow hashers or runners actually saw him and he was huffing and puffing. They had to stop and ask him if he's okay and other things of that sort, right? So it's not that it's not what a lot of these people are saying. So it's amazing. It's on GBN. GBN brought that news item. They brought that news item. That's GBN News. They brought that news item last night. Last night they brought that news item, right? So GBN News, they brought that news item, and just wanted to play it for you. It's in other words, there are people who are wishing Grenada bad. They are so negative that even before the news break, even before anything is out there, they already believe that this might add to the statistic that we have, right? But the autopsy hasn't been even completed as yet. But I'm saying to you, fellow hashers were actually saying certain things. They were saying that, he was not moving as normal on that day. It's amazing. But you have people already calling and trying to attach that. We need to be very careful as a people in this country. We have to be careful. Some folks online said they were not hearing it. So I was trying to get it downloaded. See if I can get it downloaded. I can actually feature it, right? Trying to get it downloaded here for you and then maybe feature it on the program because I really want you to hear it. You have too many people in this country who are negative when it comes to Grenada. They just want to hear bad news, bad stories, just want to hear something bad about Grenada. That is what they want. I was trying to get it here so you can let me see something.
Saw Liam walking this way, basically walking off of the route.
Members of the SGU community have descended on the community of Marion, where an extensive search is currently underway with the hope of finding Mr. Fisher. Anyone with information about the whereabouts of this individual is asked to contact the Criminal Investigations Department on 440-3921, South St. George Police Station at 444-4454, the Emergency Dispatch Unit at 911, or the nearest police station.
Fisher's hat was found at his last known location along Confer Road in Marion, St. George by one of the search parties.
So Liam was last seen right about where we're standing right now. He was doing a hash run with a group of people around between 3 and 5 o'clock or so is when we believe it was happening. Fellow runners were saying that he was struggling on the path. They had to ask him a few times, "Are you okay?" He was huffing and puffing. He said he was okay. He rounded this corner. We came this morning around 5:30, going up and down this path. The fellow runners said as they turned for the corner, they saw Liam walking this way, basically walking off of the route, and that's where we found his hat, just outside of the turn that he should have made.
That is what I wanted to play for you, right? Because you have some NNP operatives and agents, right? Surrogates. They are so negative. It's not even funny, right? It's not even funny. May the soul of this individual rest in peace, and I extend my deepest condolences to his family and friends. But it's amazing that those NNP supporters, they wishing Grenada bad so much. They wishing Grenada bad so much that the autopsy hasn't been carried out as yet, right? To really get the cause of death, to know the cause of death. They are already out there trying to attach that to the 17, the number of homicides in the country, Yeah. They're dangerous. And it must scare you because their desperation is too much. They are so desperate. That is why you have a number of them. I heard one on the radio associated with that same organization yesterday talking about the same thing about crime and crime, making people believe that the crime is so high in Grenada that they have to be concerned. That is what they want you to believe, you know. But I am saying to you, all you need to do, just go back and look at the 17 people who were murdered. All you need to do, just look at it, break it down. How many were drug related? Because a lot were drug related. And look, one death, one murder is one too many. And I know that. But a lot of these things, you just look, you have to go, not just say, well, it's 17. Well, in 2008, in the lead up to the general election, it was 16, right? We didn't see Scotland Yard here or the FBI. No. I am simply saying, folks, we have to be very careful that we don't talk our country bad and damage the good image of our country. There are too many people who want to come back into power and they are willing to say anything or do anything to get back into power. So, okay, if you want power so bad and you're going all out to damage Grenada's reputation and good name, when you get the country, if you get power, right, what would you do differently? You want a damaged country, a country whose image is damaged to govern? That's what you want? Huh? You want to see the country on its knees for you to govern it? Come on. We have to start thinking deeper. Grenada belongs to me and you and all of us. So why are you wishing bad on Grenada? Some of those folks, they are so negative. So negative. And sometimes you have to laugh, you know. You hear some of those NNP operatives saying, well, you can't trust anything this leader say. And then you ask them, where is the oil and gas? Where is the oil and gas that was promised to the Grenadian people? And then they get quiet. They want to attack our prime minister to say, you can't trust this and you can't trust that when he speaks. And you have to laugh. Just ask them to ask Keith Mitchell, where is the oil and gas that he spoke about and he promised the Grenadian people? Where is the oil and gas? Sometimes you have to laugh at these people, you know. Yeah. And then you would hear some of these folks saying, well, we're still waiting on the cabinet conclusion for the 290,000 US that the Polish gentleman, right, that the Polish gentleman gave. 140,000 went into government coffers and 150, was it 150 that went into? One of the two, either 140 or 150 went into an account belonging to that party, right? So they are saying, well, we want the cabinet conclusion. But here it is. They are not taking the matter to court because they know that the cabinet conclusion exists. Take the matter to court. You're big and you're bold and you're brave, take the matter to court. And then they're not concerned about the money going into a party's account. Right? They're not concerned about that. So 150,000 went into the account of the state and 140,000 went into a political party account. But what they're justifying, what they're saying is, well, anybody could give any political party any amount of money because there is no law in place in Grenada that speaks to campaign financing. But when an individual give you $150,000 for a passport, a diplomatic passport, and then in the same breath, he sends $140,000 into your US dollars into your party account, you see no problem with that. So those pundits who call in and they say, well, we want to see the cabinet conclusion. Well, Grenadians are not concerned about the cabinet conclusion, you know. Grenadians are concerned about the apparent corruption. So in one vein, the individual gave 150,000 US for a diplomatic passport. And remember, the same party in power was telling me and you, who was in power, was telling me and you that they were not selling diplomatic passports. They don't trade in diplomacy. They don't sell diplomatic passports, period. Right? That is what the party in power was saying. Then we discovered that they were selling diplomatic passports. And they sold that diplomatic passport for 150,000 US. But the election happened so soon that the individual could not get that diplomatic passport because government change. Right? But the same individual transferred $140,000 into the account of a political party. But they see no problem with that. So they see no problem with selling diplomatic passports. They see no problem with an individual seeking to buy, because he passed the money, he didn't get the passport, buying a diplomatic passport from Grenada and then transferring also 140,000 into a party account. They don't see problem with that. But all they would open their mouth and say, well, where is the cabinet conclusion? It's amazing, you know. Some of those NNP supporters, they dumb, you know. Dumb. I'm telling you. They have no sense. But that is how they were taught to think. That is how they craft them and shape them. So they would call programs and throw out all these stupid things out there, thinking that people are going to gravitate towards them. You know, amazingly, from the election to now, you ask them, how many people have gravitated towards their party? People are not gravitating towards that party. So no matter what they do out there, they're not being successful. And they're not changing it. They're not changing their strategy. Their strategy is to be negative, attack, criticize. That's just their strategy. And they believe by doing that, they're going to get back into power. That is what they believe in. They believe we are still living in 2008, between 2008 2016, and we are dealing with the same NDC. That is what they believe. Don't fool yourself. The NNP is still operating in the 2008-2013 time. And they believe that the NDC in power at this point is the same NDC that was there between 2008 to 2013. And they believe that all the strategies that they use during that time, because it worked for them, they were able to come back into power by criticizing the government, by attacking the government verbally, by having all the surrogates and pundits call radio programs and spread all kind of lies and so on. And then Grenadians fell for it and came back into power. You are dealing with a different NDC, if you don't know. This NDC paid the pension and the gratuity. They did not lie to public servants. During the campaign, they said they will pay the gratuity and the pension. They paid that. They paid the doc salaries to teachers. They gave public servants a 13% increase over a 3-year period. There was no demonstration and protest on the streets for that. And they gave them all the fringe benefits and so on. They fixing all kind of roads. They paying salaries on time. That is not when the NDC of 2008, 2013, when a certain individual sabotage Nazim Book as Minister of Finance, right? And not pay salaries on time to spoil his political career. The NDC is paying salaries on time and even before time, and they're paying twice per month. The NDC is adjusting the minimum wage for our working people so they can get better salaries. The NDC rolled out the CES program, $15.1 million to help small businesses and medium-sized businesses to expand and to do stuff. The NDC gave 100% concession to creatives, and they're now praising the government. And we can go on and on. The free tuition for students at TAMCC and the new law, universal education. They continued all the social safety net programs. And they're doing a lot of projects left, right, and center throughout Grenada. That's a different NDC. If you all are so dumb to be stuck in that, watch me, NNP will get one cocktail in the next election. You go tell me better. You believe that they got a bad cut skin in the last election? Well, it's 10, no, it was 10-5. It was 6-9. Even after the election, they're still losing seats, the NNP. Because the Honorable Delma Thomas moved from the NNP to the NDC. Even after the election, they're losing seats. That should give them a cue of what would happen to them come the next election. They would get one licking because the people in the diaspora, they're following what's going on keenly. And we have more Grenadians living in the diaspora than living in Grenada. And they are rallying behind this government. They love what this government is doing. And there are people in Grenada who have sense to know that the NDC is doing a fantastic job. A fantastic job in this country. This is not the same NDC as the one between 2008, 2013, where they had infighting, where they didn't put their foot down to do certain things. This NDC is different. Totally different. Look at the lands. They took back the lands on Grandon's Beach. Even if they had to pay for it, they take it back and they put it in the hands of Grenadians. Right? They settle the situation with Newfield by Kiwana Bay Resort. They settle all these things. NDC, this NDC is a different NDC. They focus on people. Look at the amount of training opportunities. Look at the amount of scholarships that young people are getting. Look at the amount of work that is being done by this government. They're doing stuff. They're getting stuff done. They're implementing stuff. And they're not just talking. They're serious about what they told you during the election. And they're delivering. So, NNP, you're still stuck between 2008 to 2013. You believe the same stupidness you did to get back into power between that time with the past NDC. You're going to do it this time and get through your lie. During that time, there was no Kem Jones on radio. Don't forget that, you know. You have to deal with me. During that time, there was no social media movement where our people on social media would take you on with your nonsense every time you talk it. Our Grenadian people are taking the fight to the NNP on social media non-stop with all the lies that they're pushing out. It's a different ball game, totally different ball game. And we have a prime minister who is not going to spend time with these folks with all their nonsense. You don't realize they want a press conference every week. The prime minister and government not even bothered about these people. Let them talk. NDC is about doing the work and getting the work done. You don't realize what's going on? They on radio and thing and talking about all kind of stupidness. The NDC not even bothered about that. They're just doing the work. They're just getting the work done. And they vex. Because you realize our prime minister is not even bothered about what Keith Mitchell would say anywhere, you know, parliament or anywhere else. He's not even studying that. Keith Mitchell is insignificant in the scheme of things. And what's sad about it is that Keith Mitchell wants to run again, in my belief, within the NNP. He's not giving up. You see that old cock they call Keith Mitchell, that old bull they call Keith Mitchell? He didn't want to give up. And he said it's the last this and the last what? Last what? He has to be forced out. The only how this man going there to force him out. He will wait to call a convention until he has all the votes to secure a victory for leader. Unless he didn't have the numbers, I don't believe he will call anything. Or that party will call any convention. I'm telling you, that is what they have to deal with. When Grenadians, watch me, all you need to do, just read the comments when the NNP go on any program. When they go on any program or any news item with the NNP, go and read the comments under it. That's all you need to do. And you will know that the Grenadian people are fed up with the NNP, fed up with Keith and all of them. That's all you need to do. Even if you have a parliament sitting, just read the comments of ordinary people. I'm telling you, the people who support NNP, just NNP supporters, you know. And a lot of NNP supporters there, a lot of them who angry with Keith Mitchell and the NNP. But they're NNP. But they're angry. They're not happy. Because all the NNP could do is just criticize. No solution, right? No recommendation that is feasible. You have Keith Mitchell talking about what? FBI and Scotland. What's wrong with him? Something wrong with this guy, you know. What kind of criminality you have in Grenada for FBI and Scotland Yard? Why you didn't call the FBI and Scotland Yard to investigate the briefcase situation? Huh? Why you didn't call the FBI and Scotland Yard to investigate the Mount Hartman scandal when the Convesta run away with our money? Why you didn't call the FBI and Scotland Yard to investigate the shrimp farm fiasco where millions of dollars, 50-something million of dollars just taken away by Convestas? Huh? Why didn't call FBI and Scotland Yard to look into the chicken farm fiasco or the call center fiasco? Huh? Why didn't call the FBI for all these different things? And I can go on and on, you know. The Livera fiasco. Why didn't call the FBI for these things? But no, he wants to come now and tell the government to call FBI and Scotland Yard. What's wrong with this old cock? Huh? Keith Mitchell is an old cock, you know. An old bull and an old cock. I'm telling you. But we have to call him out because he believes that we're going to just, brush this thing aside and move on. No, we have to deal with it head on because they believe that they're smart. You're not smart. You're foolish. You're not smart. Things are going so good in the country, right? All I say to people, if you could prevent crime in Grenada, well, then prevent it. Or anywhere in the world. If you could go in the head of a person right now who is about to commit this or commit that, well, then do it. Yeah. A person takes a gun and shoot another person. Well, then if you have powers, prevent that from happening. That's what you have to do, you know. Prevent that from happening. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Prevent it. It's just stupid. Dotishness. Because you lost the election, you believe you're going to jump on that to see if you're going to make you're going to get some political mileage. You can't get no political mileage out of that. No. It's just stupid. This country belongs to all of us. We should want good for Grenada. But instead, you want to go there and tarnish the good name of Grenada. What's wrong with these people and them, boy? I want to know what's wrong with them. It is important that we start asking tougher questions. In the 17 people who were murdered, how many out of that 17 were drug related? That's the question they should have asked the police, those journalists. In the 17 that they announced, how many out of the 17 were drug related? Because don't believe the police and know, The police knows. The police, they're aware of how many out of that is drug related. It's connected to some drug thing. But not only that, Grenada is on 17. St. Lucia is on 27. St. Vincent on 35. 35 murders in St. Vincent. 27 murders in St. Lucia. Grenada on 17. Right? But you have a lot of those folks, those opportunists, trying to pounce on that and make people believe that Grenada is so bad. That is what they want you to believe, But we have to call it as is. Grenada is still one of the most peaceful islands in the Caribbean. And Grenadians are warm people and friendly people. The man, you remember the old cock? He jumped on the guy who died on the beach. Right? Because the guy was belonging to a particular community. He jumped on that. He thought he could get mileage out of it. Writing letter to the Prime Minister and trying to make a mockery of the whole thing. What's wrong with this guy? So he didn't get any jolt, any political mileage out of it. You hear? He quiet. He ain't saying a word about that again. But that's how he functions. Sad. But folks, I want to wrap up. Well, somebody saying to me, St. Vincent's are on 38 and not 35. I thought it was 35 based on what I saw in the newspaper out there, but maybe it's an old newspaper. Speaking to about 3 months or 4 months ago. So my good friend Linda is saying St. Vincent's on 38. Right? I would look again to see if it's 38 or 35. But I know it's in the high 30s. It's up there. St. Lucia might be even more than that. Right? But I'll look. I'll get a real thing for you. Folks, I want to thank you very much for being a